The Cincinnati Bengals are on the verge to win their first ever championship in franchise history. Now, how did we get here? How did this team that only won 2 games 2 years ago and 4 games the year after that, how did they get here? Well, today we're going to look at it and see how this Cincinnati Bengals made the greatest 2-year turnaround that the league has ever seen. What's going on, guys? It is Triple DS. We are here today to talk about the history of the Cincinnati Bengals, or the short history, I should say, of how we went from the worst team in the NFL just 2 years ago to 1 win away from our very first Super Bowl championship. I've been a fan since the year prior to when Carson Palmer got there. So to be a fan and understanding what kind of team we were in the 90s, understanding more or less what kind of team we were even in the mid-2000s when Palmer was here. It's definitely a story of the underdogs, even though Joe will tell you this ain't no underdog team. History will tell you that this is an underdog franchise. If this is the first time on the channel, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on, and let me know what you guys think about the history of the Cincinnati Bengals. Going back to 2019, the Zac Taylor-led Cincinnati Bengals went 2-14. They did begin the season with a valiant effort against the Seahawks, coming up just short. But there was still hope in Cincinnati after that performance. You know, this is a team with a new direction. Marvin Lewis just left the team. But then you move on to San Francisco and get shellacked. After the San Francisco 49ers game, it is a tale of what's to come for the Bengals as they drop their first 11 games. They do go 2-14, and already in his first year, Zac Taylor was on the hot seat. Although the struggles were definitely there, this set up the Bengals to get a certain kid from LSU who was lighting it up in college. Now, if you guys think for a second that the Bengals were trying to tank at this point, look no further than the Dolphins versus the Bengals, where the Bengals were down bad in this game and came back to tie it up. And I understand, it was the Dolphins. They were the same Dolphins that were dubbed the worst team in the NFL. You just need to watch that game and it will tell you that the Bengals were not tanking. We were just that bad. Joe Burrow is now the new face in Cincinnati. Additionally, with Burrow, we did draft T. Higgins in the second round, and you think this is the new AJ Green, Andy Dalton combo, but it is far from it, and we will get more into that in a little bit. We also got our starting linebacker, Logan Wilson, in the third round. DJ Reader and Von Bell were some big signings for us in the 2019 offseason. So this is a very, very good start. Maybe it's not one that will pay off right away, but it's definitely a great start, and this is looking promising. The Joe Burrow era has started. Andy Dalton is now a Cowboy. Burrow is under center. Mixon is still looking good. Higgins is actually looking pretty promising in his rookie year. Then we get to week 11, where the Bengals take on the then Washington football team. Shout out Commanders. And on that field that has taken so many players out, the likes of Alex Smith, hell, even Chase Young later.
Oh no, the #1 pick in the draft looks to be seriously hurt, grabbing at his left leg. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen.
Burrow does suffer one of the more gruesome injuries that you ever have seen, and it is over for the Burrow era in his rookie campaign. The Bengals go on to lose 5 of their next 7 games. Although they did beat the Steelers in a very promising way, the season was over as soon as that leg went out. Even me as a fan, I personally stopped watching after Burrow went down because there was nothing much to watch. The Bengals do finish 4-11-1, and even though the injury happened, there were flashes. Mixon still put up a decent amount of numbers. Higgins was shining, and this is the first time that 2019 pick Jonah Williams was finally on the field, considering he was out his rookie year. Now we move on to the 2021 season, and this is where everything picks up. After a 6-25-1 start to his coaching campaign, Zac Taylor is more than definitely on the hot seat. If there's no improvements, he is gone. The Bengals are going to probably start from scratch. Burrow's probably going to have his second coach in as many years. But let's start in the offseason, where departures such as Carl Lawson, John Ross, Sean Williams, Randy Bullock. We lost Geno Atkins and Giovanni Bernard, but none were as close to devastating as losing AJ Green. And I understand it was his time to go. He was 32, coming off of multiple injuries. Still, it was hard to see him go, but you knew things were coming, things were going to change. I guess we have to go find his replacement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the year that we drafted Jamar Chase, Burrow's LSU guy from when they tore it up in 2019. But don't let the drafting of Chase fool you, because it wasn't just him that we picked up that definitely made this team a good team. Additionally, with Ja'Marr Chase, we also drafted the kicker known as Evan McPherson, McShooter, McIce in his veins, whatever you want to call him. Evan McPherson has been playing so well. We did sign the likes of Eli Apple. Riley Reef, even though he got hurt, was an excellent addition. We also got Larry Ogunjobi. Our biggest acquisitions were Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, and Trey Hendrickson. Yes, Burrow is the glue that holds it all together, but it wasn't just Burrow. This is definitely the front office. This is Mike Brown finally opening his wallet. Even though the Bengals did finally open up their wallet and signed a lot of free agents, if you look at their team, almost everyone is homegrown. Burrow drafted, Chase drafted, Boyd, Mixon, Higgins all drafted. And that's just on the offensive side. That's not including Pratt, Hubbard, Bates was also drafted. Huber, like 20,000 years ago, was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. There's something to appreciate a homegrown team. A lot of these players, a lot of these starters were drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals over the past couple of years, and it's all finally paying off. We now move on to the regular season, and Ja'Marr Chase was going off instantly. He was definitely one of the focal points in this offense, breaking the record for rookie receiving yards, breaking records for the Bengals franchise season record in his rookie campaign. Now, Ja'Marr Chase is someone that can't be ignored, but if you focus too much on Ja'Marr Chase, that leaves it wide open for the others. Despite the subpar, and that's putting it nicely, offensive line, Mixon did rack up some nice yards, finishing 3rd overall in rushing. T. Higgins was a 1,000-yard receiver. Boyd was very close. We were very close to having 3 1,000-yard receivers. And the defense, very underrated. We were able to defeat the likes of the Chiefs. We were able to defeat and sweep the likes of the Ravens and the Steelers. The biggest takeaway for this season for me was the fact that 2 of the 3 teams that we played in the playoffs thus far, we had already beat in the regular season. That being the Raiders, stomping them out 32-13, and beating the Chiefs in a comeback victory 34-31. The Bengals are playing with a chip on their shoulder, similar to how our quarterback was playing in LSU, being chosen over Dwayne Haskins. Slowly but surely, you started believing in this team. There was something there in Cincinnati. Then, on January 15th, against the Las Vegas Raiders, the Cincinnati Bengals snap a 31-year drought of not winning a playoff game, 26-19, in what was honestly a scary game because the Raiders were coming back. But the defense prevailed, Jermaine Pratt prevailed, and it was all good in Cincinnati. And this is where most people would have said, all right, the Bengals got their win. Joe Burrow is the guy that's going to lead them eventually. That's the key word right there, eventually. But Burrow and his confident self said, we are just getting started. Against the Tennessee Titans, the number 1 seed in the AFC, with a returning Derrick Henry, the defense gets a ton of credit for this game because they held that man in check, only holding them 60 yards. And Joe Burrow and the team did just enough to come away with this one. This is a game that proves to you that Burrow can't be rattled. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how much he's losing by. It doesn't matter how much he's getting hit, because the Tennessee Titans defensive lineman sacked Burrow 9 times, rushed him who knows how much more than that. Yet the Bengals still come away with the 1916 win. After defeating the Titans, you start believing a little bit more. You think, could it be? But after seeing that game against the Chiefs and Bills, you think, who doesn't matter who wins, this is the team that will make the Super Bowl. The Bengals have had a nice run. They got a win that cultivated 30 years of infertility in gaming, and then they beat the number 1 seed. This is a Cinderella story, but it has to end here. This is where it ends, at Kansas City, at Arrowhead. The Chiefs, who have been to 4 straight AFC championships now, are going to take this one. They're going to go for their 2nd crown in as many years. And yet, Burrow, Mixon, Higgins, Chase, Boyd, everybody else are unafraid and unbothered. Even going down 21-3, the Burrow-led Bengals did not flinch. They do come back, and defense again gets a ton of credit here. The Kansas City Chiefs were just held to 3 points, not only in the half, but also in overtime. And if that doesn't scream halftime adjustments, which is something that the Bengals have struggled with. So let me take this moment right now to give a shout out to Zach Taylor's crew. Bill Callahan, Lou Amorano, shout out to you guys. You guys might be head coaches. very, very soon. Burrow and the Bengals offense did what they had to do. They climbed out of this hole in overtime, where the Chiefs won the coin toss, and people are already thinking, oh my goodness, history is repeating ourselves again. Overtime rules this, overtime rules that. The defense of the Bengals rattled Mahomes just like they did the entire second half and forced an interception. And that is where the tide now starts turning. The Bengals get into field goal range and they kick the game-winning field goal again, proving that we drafted this kicker for a reason. The Bengals have defeated the Chiefs for the second time in 4 weeks, and for the first time since that fateful year in 1988 are back in the Super Bowl. I'm 27 years old. I have never seen the Bengals in the Super Bowl, let alone win a single playoff game. Here we are, 1 week away from a game that will change the Bengals, the NFL, Joe Burrow's legacy. This changes the narrative that the Bengals are a lowly franchise. Win or lose, the Bengals have come further than any big-time hopeful would have predicted. In SoFi Stadium, the unthinkable could happen, and I'm a believer that it will happen. On February 13th at 6:30 p.m., we take on the Los Angeles Rams, which should be a great, great game. And I am one who can't wait. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I was saying, win or lose, the Bengals will be truly a captivating comeback story to tell everybody. Going from 2-14 to 10-7 in the regular season, but going 3-0 in the playoffs, on the verge of Super Bowl 56. If they win, I will be the happiest person ever. If they lose, I will still be very, very happy, because this is way more than I would have expected. As somebody who has loved this franchise since 2002, 2003, just winning one playoff game, like I was saying before, it almost made me shed a tear, because it made me feel like, damn, this is what it feels like. Even now, a week after beating Kansas City, it still feels unreal, but I'm happy for it. I can't wait. I'm excited. I even went to Cincinnati. I am nowhere near Cincinnati, guys, and I got this Ring of Honor football. If they ever come around my way where it's Washington, D.C., I would love for them to sign this one day. If you guys ever see it, if Burrow, if you ever see it, Higgins, Boyd, anybody, AJ Green, if you ever see this, man, oh, could you please sign this? Oh my God. Sorry, that's just me fanboying, sorry. But that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time on the channel, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on. And if you're still here, and if you're a Bengals fan, let me get a WHODEYYYYYY! I wish nothing but the best for Cincinnati next week, and I hope you guys are watching and enjoying it, as you know I will myself as well.